Hello, everybody, and welcome to Junior Achievement's virtual speaker series. Today, we're going to be talking about the healthcare industry, and our special guest today is Aliya Aaron. Aliya, welcome. How are you?
Good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Aliya is the CEO of AMR Healthcare Consulting based in Fort Lauderdale. So thank you for joining us. And I just wondered if you'd tell our students a little bit about your personal journey and how you ended up where you are today.
Sure, of course. I love to share, especially with the students. So, hi everyone. Thanks for joining us and taking a listen to my personal journey. So, I actually started off, I'm a registered nurse and I left. I was in junior achievement when I was in high school, so I can appreciate it.
Not bad.
And yeah, I love junior achievement, by the way. And so, once I graduated high school, I went straight to college. And I was initially going to major in education because my dad was a teacher and I changed my mind. My mom said, "Why don't you go in healthcare? Because there always will be a need for nurses in healthcare, particularly." So I thought, well, that might be something interesting. I didn't know much about it, so I chose that path. And I went to Winston-Salem State University in North Carolina, majored in nursing, received my bachelor's, and then after college, I graduated and I was ready to get right into the workforce because I was tired of being broke in school.
Right. Of course.
And so I was ready to get to work and to really learn and put everything that I've learned over the last 4 years into practice. So I received my first job offer and I worked as a critical care nurse in North Carolina, a little small hospital right outside of Charlotte. And I worked there and really learned a lot about nursing, a lot about healthcare. And I decided to take my talents on the road and start working as a travel nurse. So
Oh,
travel
wow.
yeah, so travel nursing is another area of nursing where you basically travel around the world or wherever you want to, and you work like 13-week contracts in certain hospitals and areas that need help. And so I thought that would be a really good way for me to travel around, see different parts since I've been in college for such a while. And
Mm.
just really pick up a lot of experiences, real world experiences that could help really shape me into what it is I wanted to do with my future in healthcare because I knew that I didn't specifically want to stay working as a bedside nurse, but I wanted to explore other areas of nursing.
Okay.
So, fast forward from my travel nursing, I decided to go back to graduate school and learn more about the healthcare administration and policy aspect of it. So, I received a master's in health systems management and policy, and I worked as a research nurse for National Institutes of Health while I was in grad school. And
Wow.
yeah. So, nursing for me, the healthcare profession is very broad. There are so many different areas. And typically, when people think of wanting to have a career in nursing, they typically think of what? The hospital, right?
Right.
So I started there, but I branched off. I worked as a research nurse while in graduate school. And after graduate school, I moved into technology, which is where I've been the last several years now. And I started my company, AMR Healthcare Consulting, in 2010, which basically is a software development and consulting company for healthcare organizations that are looking to implement new technology into their organizational structures. So I really like what I do. And my journey, you can see, it's not a straight line,
Right. But
right?
it so often is not a straight line.
Not a
It's
straight
always
line,
up and down. It's not often straight. So going back to the travel nurse, because there may be some of our students listening who say that sounds unique,
right?
and having the opportunity to travel and
Mhm,
work around the world.
mhm.
What is the best way, or how would you encourage students to go down that pathway? What would they need to do?
So, and it's not actually just for nursing, but for a lot of professions in healthcare, for nurses, for doctors, for physical therapists, speech pathologists. There are a lot of areas or occupations in healthcare that offer those travel opportunities. And so, what I would say is to first gain your foundation, work for a facility, work for a hospital or ambulatory practice, work in an area where you can really gain that foundational knowledge that then can set you off on that path to travel around because when you start traveling around, they expect you to know what you're talking about.
Right.
So they expect you to have that expert knowledge where you can show up and perform, because you gained that experience from working initially in an organization where you were able to lay the foundation. And once you've done that, then you're able to take your talents on the road and to help out other areas that are in need that may be deprived of those professional areas, which is why they look for people to come into those areas to help them out.
Right. So the advice is to also to get as much diverse
Mhm.
experience as you possibly can to make yourself stand out and be unique.
Absolutely. You want to be able to be very marketable. You want to be able to gain as much experience in the various areas of your specific practice. So, for instance, like I said, it's nursing. I started off as a critical care nurse, but from there, I ventured to travel nursing, research nursing, informatics nursing. I've worked in the healthcare executive area, policy. And it makes you very well rounded and very knowledgeable in your particular field where you can then be looked at as a subject matter of your area.
Right. And you've taken it to the next step because you've also owned your own business. So we're talking about
Absolutely.
entrepreneurship in that too.
Entrepreneurship as well. And so, with all of those levels of knowledge that I've gained from working in all these different areas, I compounded that into an entrepreneurial venture, which is AMR Healthcare Consulting. And I've really enjoyed being an entrepreneur, nurse entrepreneur, and being able to work with organizations on from working as an employee to working business to business.
So based on what we're going through currently with this pandemic, how
Mhm.
do you think the industry moving forward is going to change?
Oh, totally, and nothing's gonna be different. This is our new normal now. So what used to be will no longer be because a lot of information has been gained out of this pandemic of what we need to do as a healthcare, um, to move healthcare forward. And I speak in healthcare, right?
Mm,
But other areas are obviously impacted as well, from the financial to the oil industry.
absolutely.
Right.
Yes.
So in healthcare, for students that are looking to get into healthcare, I would say equip yourself with the latest technologies that can help move healthcare forward because technology is an enabler to really help us as we look to really track the pandemic and look at population health and look at ways that um, we can help populations that are less fortunate, in those rural areas, and
Mm.
also equip yourself with knowledge on I just had a brain loss. Equip yourself with 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 knowledge on the socioeconomic impact and how it will affect the roles of healthcare. Because prior to going into this pandemic, nurses and physicians are obviously in high demand, but due to the budget constraints now, a lot of places have let go of some of their nurses and doctors and ancillary care. Now, how do we operate, on a lean budget and lean staff with critical workers that are now being furloughed or laid off? So these are all the areas that you have to equip yourself with that knowledge to be able to be very valuable.
Right, right.
Mhm.
So if for our students who are in high school right now, if they were deciding on nursing or the healthcare industry as a career, what is probably the one piece of advice that you would give to them moving forward, other than the technology piece of it and the
Mhm.
information they need to gather?
Right. I would say, as a healthcare enthusiast, as a high schooler, if you're looking to get into the healthcare area, the first thing I would do is do my research.
Mm,
Understand what areas excite you. There's so many different disciplines in healthcare that you could choose to major in and look into. Do your research, find out what they do, what does a physician do? And as a physician, what does an anesthesiologist do? What does a researcher do? Look at nursing, look at all the various avenues of nursing, find out something that interests you, and then start doing your research in how to obtain um, maybe an internship in that area,
right,
right? So you
right.
can learn about it from the ground level because you may say, I want to be a pediatric oncology nurse, and then you intern in that area, and you're like, I don't really enjoy that.
Yeah, not for you. Yeah.
Right. So I would, try to pair myself up with someone in the community that has experience, that could shed some light on the area that I'm interested in, and that may trigger another interest that you can
Right,
start going down there.
right, that they may not have thought of within the industry or had no idea that
Exactly.
it existed.
No idea.
Excellent. Yeah, excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining us. These are nuggets of advice for our students in our healthcare academies. So thank you so much for joining us, Aliya.
Of
It has been a
course.
pleasure having you on. Come back anytime.
Thank you. Thanks, Claire, and good luck
All
to
right, thank you.
everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.